What's up, everybody? Welcome to Breakfast with CanesInSight. It is November 1st, game day, SMU. Doing it extra early today, 6:45 a.m. Got a big baseball tournament before the game that I got to get to with eMoney. So wanted to get the game day stuff out there early before hopefully joining you guys for a victory show. It's going to be a tough one, though, on the road against SMU. This is really, look at the schedule. You don't want to look ahead at all, but there are two games, I think, that just from a difficulty standpoint stand out. This one on the road against a very, very unique offense, very good play caller in Rhett Lashley, a defense that is performing at a high level, taking the ball away, stopping the run, and in the red zone, all areas where you're concerned if you're the Miami Hurricanes and an offense that hasn't gotten on track lately. And then, of course, Pitt there at the end of the season. So you got to get through this one. You got to get through all of them. But this is one that is circled. Rhett Lashley wants to get it done. Some news breaking here last night that I want to get to in a second. First, always got to shout out our boys, Anjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anjar and Levine. Cam Moore for Eisen says, early morning vibes, boys. That's right. No, we're up early. It's going to be an early game here. Noon start for those of us on the East Coast. If you're out there at the game in Dallas, 11 a.m. start. I know there's a ton of Canes fans out there. I saw some pictures in the group chat last night. People are going out having fun. It's a good time, man. I would have liked to have been out there, but youth sports, as those of you with kids know, is a beast, man. Clint Beasy saying, what's up, Chad? D-Money question. With this YouTube BS, will a game be on the ESPN app? Good question. So you're referring to YouTube and TV and ESPN having a dispute where you can no longer see ESPN, at least not right now. It's not going to be on YouTube TV. Will it be on the ESPN app? I don't know, man. These things trick me so much. I can't tell you how many times I've tuned into a game that I've purchased every single package involved with it, and I still can't watch it. I wish I knew better. And I'm not just saying this to get the plug. But I mean, when I have issues with something like this, first choice is to go to Duffy's Tavern, the home of the Miami Hurricanes, because I can tell you, I was there yesterday. I can confirm Duffy's Tavern will have the game on all of his channels. That is right there on the edge of Coral Gables, 60 plus years running, serving the South Florida community. It's not Duffy's, the generic chain. This is the real deal, Duffy's Tavern. Make sure you write Duffy's Tavern Sports Grill to get the one that's been around 60 plus years. And yes, finally accepting credit cards, and they are playing the game. So if you have YouTube TV and you can't see the game, or you just want to see, that game, be in that atmosphere and then stick around for all the 3:30 games, Duffy's Tavern on the edge of Coral Gables, the home of the Hurricanes. I promise I wasn't playing in that spot. I don't know where else to find it. What's going on, man? How we doing? Canes 305. The Canes have found their groove again. They're going to roll today. Hope that's right. 60 says, get to listen live on the way to work today. Good luck at work, 60. Hope you can sneak away and watch the game here. Good morning, Caesar. Yeah, a lot of new crowd here with the morning show. Maybe we'll do some more morning shows. Clint's in my boat. I'd love to go to the bar. Problem is my son's youth basketball game is at 1, so I have to stream from my phone. I know the feeling, man. Youth sports is a monster. All right, let's get to the news here. Unfortunately, as Cam Moore for Heisman points out, the injury report is starting to grow. So, yeah, let's start there with O.J. Frederick, C.J. Daniels, Mod Moten Sr., all starting players, all very important players, questionable for the game against SMU, just added to that Friday report. There'll be another report right before the game. Now, I will tell you guys honestly, and I mean this truthfully, I don't really ask about injuries during the season. You hear things, sometimes true, sometimes not. But I really don't ask for official reports on injuries. Number one, because I'm not sure I'll get a straight answer. And number two, if I get an answer, but I can't say it, I'd rather not go on here and lie to everybody, right? So I can tell you the truth. I really don't know what the status is with these players other than what's been reported, which is that they're questionable on the injury report. That's the honest truth. If they were to be out, and again, one or all, or zero, I do not know. That's the honest truth. But, CJ Daniels is out. Certainly a Josh Moore becomes more prominent. JoJo Trader, you've heard that name a million times on this show and everywhere else. He would become a more prominent option in that situation where you want to see some more Tony Johnson, different type of receiver than CJ Daniels, more of your true slot, someone you can play with Malachi Tony to get more speed on the field, but not going to replace the contested catch, acumen that CJ Daniels has. He's our number one touchdown option, one of the best touchdown makers in the ACC right now. You saw it last week to get a start against Stanford. So that would be a huge loss and a huge opportunity for a Josh Moore and JoJo Trader. Those are like the first two names right away that jump out if a CJ Daniels cannot go. Of course, Malachi Tony is going to do his thing. With respect to OJ Frederick, that one's a little more straightforward. You do have a lot of cornerback depth. You didn't want to see it tested, obviously, but if you do have to test it, Ethan O'Connor's been playing really, really good football, number 24, Washington State transfer. More physical against the run than I expected. He's pretty active, and I like his attitude and his energy. He's playing kickoff as well. So he's playing at a high level, and we'll see when he's actually tested from a full game coverage standpoint against SMU, assuming that OJ's out, which, again, I have not heard anything that really I trust either way. That's the truth. I have not asked. So that would be an option. Damari Brown, big physical option as well. He can go right in there and play at a starting caliber level. 200-pound, very, very good tackler. He graded very high against the PFF ratings that just came out. As far as he's one of the least tested or least completed upon corners in the country. And those stats you got to take with a grain of salt. But I know Damari Brown is a guy that a lot of people have a lot of faith in. Had a really, really good camp. And I just love the physicality he plays with. So I'm a believer in Damari Brown and Ethan O'Connor if either one is called upon. I think that's a position of good depth. And you figured over the course of the year you need to lean into it a little bit. You hope it's not today, but if it is, that's football and you got to get it done. Mod Moten, probably the biggest concern. And yeah, who said that right here? Canes 305. Yeah, the Moten would be the biggest concern, I think, just because the position, right? That's a position that nobody has depth at that position, really. I mean, truly, starter caliber depth. You just don't have enough of those guys walking around. They get spread around in the portal. So for anyone to say, yeah, you could lose a Mod Moten and feel good, no, you're not. It's not going to happen. So you hope that all three of these guys are healthy, certainly with Moten. But if Moten could not go, the one thing I'll say is SMU is not the most powerful offensive line, blow off the ball type of unit. They hit big plays, but they hit big plays with, with timing, with the pace they play with, good play calling, finding mismatches. It's not like a offense that just overwhelms you man on man, right? That's not the way they play. So it's not like if you put an undersized defensive tackle like, say, Armando Blunt in there, that I think he'd be physically overwhelmed consistently. Now you want Moten in there, no question, because he's one of your better players up front. And our defensive tackles, I think, have been unsung heroes this year. They've played really, really well. So you hope Moten's there. If he's not there, I think you're going to see more Armando Blunt, who you're going to see a lot of him anyways because he plays both end and tackle. And he's playing really, really well. He's on the upward trajectory, one of my favorite players. High motor, physical, can run as well. Dante Simpson, the true freshman. You don't want to rely on a true freshman in a game like this where you really got to win on the road, but had a really good game against Stanford. Showed you that quickness, showed you some of that playmaking ability. So that'd be another name that you watch out for. Boyle and Hamburg said, or David Blay. David Blay, that's a no-brainer. He's starting either way, and he is going to be a major factor. He had a really, really good game against Stanford. David Blay did. He probably his best game of the year. He's played against a good opponents. That's some important games, but certainly from a dominant standpoint, I don't know if he was ever as dominant as he was against that Stanford offensive line. It was a mismatch against Blay. So Blay is going to be a huge factor there. Cam Ward for Heisman wants to see some Jordan Lyle. Yeah, I could see that one. The speed, he's a good pass blocker too. So you don't a lot of times with these speed backs, they're smaller guys, and you put them out there, you give a little bit on the pass block, and you get more explosives. Jordan Lyle's a really, really good pass blocker. So not only do you get explosiveness when you get Lyle on the field, you get good pass blocking. I think that's why you've seen us try to get Jordan Lyle on the field, even when he's struggling a little bit. So yeah, I can see that. Waleed says, I'm concerned about the wheel route today. We don't defend it, and it is a Lashley special. No, I'm with you 100%. I watched, at this point, I've watched basically four SMU games, Baylor, TCU, Clemson, and then Wake Forest last week. And that wheel route is still rocking and rolling. He'll throw it to all of his backs. Chris Johnson being the most dangerous one because of his straight line speed. Lashley's going to want to find mismatches. Mo Torre certainly is going to be on Lashley's radar. And then just, getting guys crossed up and getting a guy like a Chris Johnson open on that wheel. You could see that certainly happening during the course of the game. We've seen that a million times while he was here. He's going to scheme guys open. We know that's going to happen. So hopefully those plays go for 20 instead of 60. JT Dozier says, would you agree now that we need a third pass catcher to announce themselves to the rest of the country, especially with CJ being banged up now? No question. I mean, we've done, Lord knows how many shows we've done on that third pass catching issue. It's always a hot topic. I think Tony Johnson did a really, really good job last week. I think if a CJ Daniels is out, not only will you need Malachi Tony, the veteran Tony Johnson, who I think will do well, you're going to need a young guy to step up. And clearly in the comments, JoJo's the name on everybody's mind. And this would be a huge moment for him. And I would throw Josh Moore, though, in the mix, too, especially since Josh Moore, more similar, in my view, to a CJ Daniels, just in terms of the catch radius, and all those things. So that would be something to watch out for. If you want someone to watch out for your landscaping, making sure your commercial property or your residential property looks beautiful, elegant, eye-catching, talk to your guys. Orchid Man Florida. That is ORCHID Man Florida.com. South Florida's landscape artisans from Palm Beach down to the Keys. 786-271-0332. We've had him on. The Orchid Man is passionate about landscape, and this is what he does. Not just the beautiful flowers and the great aesthetics, but the dirty work, right? The sprinkler repair, manicured maintenance, tree trimming, tree stump grinding, fertilizing, hurricane prep, lighting, irrigation, you name it. They will be your quarterback for your landscape at Orchid Man Florida, ORCHID Man Florida.com. They'll take care of you, man. You want a beautiful landscape, they'll be your quarterback. They'll run the whole show. Hit him up. The Orchid Man. Yep, Clint's also in on the JoJo coming out party. I think that'd be huge for all involved, no question. We'll ask him about the freshman wide receiver, Malachi Tony. You got no questions with him. He is consistent in everything he does. He has been a consistent performer. And, I don't got a care in the world about young Malachi Tony. Cloud Fleet says the Hind Dallas is 66. No systems, clear skies, weather update sponsored by Lomello's and Dobler Pete. Yeah, shout out to both of them. Pete's out there in the game. So I might do the post game today. Hopefully a post game victory. And then Pete joins us there celebrating coming out the stadium, which is not the biggest stadium. I think a little over 30,000 will be there. So it'll be intimate setting. I'm sure there'll be some energy there, but it's not the biggest crowd in the world. And weather's good. No reason why the offense can't go out there and play ball. It's a good SMU defense. I think the SMU defense ahead of their offense this year. We've talked about on the show, but certainly nothing that you fear if you're the offense you hope to be and you think that you are. Carson Beck, weather's clear for a big day, with or without CJ Daniels. Waleed noting their tight end RJ Maryland's Russell Maryland's son. He probably should have been a Cane, man. He's a good player coming back from an ACL. Come back from an ACL injury. A guy that can get open, catch the ball. He's a good player, man. He is, and he's gonna be someone they look for in mismatch situations. Seen him take advantage of mismatches. I've seen when they play cover two, getting right down the seam. He can do different things. He's a receiving tight end first, and he's a natural receiver. He can adjust to the ball. He can do all these. Look at this. Make out Florida saying Nikar deep ball. That'd be a surprise. JT said Tony Johnson isn't a freshman. It's early, man. Did I say Tony Johnson a freshman? Tony Johnson, the veteran from Cincinnati, and of course the freshman Malachi Tony. But what I'm saying is that the freshmen I think are going to help out, meaning Josh Moore and I guess JoJo Trader is a sophomore, but the young players, I think you're going to need them in addition to the veteran Tony Johnson, who I think you're going to know what you're going to get from him. And then Malachi Tony, even though he's a freshman, I think you kind of know what you're going to get from him. So those two, are going to be ready to rock and roll. Josh Moore and JoJo, you're learning about these guys, right? This is their first year. They've shown you the flashes. Josh Moore more this year, JoJo more last year. So we'll see what happens with those two. Very excited. Oh, listen, make no mistake. I hope when they line up and play, number 7's out there receiver. That's what I'm hoping to see, but it's football. This is it's going to take a lot of guys to accomplish Miami's goals this season and have a long season in this 12-team playoff and get to the 12-team playoff. And you're going to need everybody just to get there and then certainly to progress. So it's going to happen sooner or later. Just hope everybody stays as healthy as possible. Clint Beasley wants to see Malachi Tony playing quarterback on the trick plays. I mean, you saw him throw some touchdowns against Louisville. Touchdown, two-point conversion. I mean, he could throw. There's no question. The thing I like about him with the passing plays with Malachi is he makes good decisions. He is a quarterback, and he's a quarterback that not just can throw, but he's a quarterback that was very, very good decision maker when he played quarterback. Very smart. Really ran the show on a state championship American Heritage team. So you can call a play that basically puts the ball in his hands to throw and feel good that he's going to make a good decision. Sorry. They needed the refresher there before I ran out of voice. Make Out Florida says, we need a special teams TD soon. Came real close last week, man. Malachi Tony, is itching for one. Cam Ward says, when's the last time I blocked a punt? Back in the glory days, we'd block a few a season, usually in big moments. That's true. We all remember Tremaine Mack. That wasn't really glory days. That was when I was a kid. That was like probation it seemed like he would do it every other game. So there's a give and take because you also don't want to, we've had good offenses lately. You don't want to not get the ball back to your offense because you're up the punter. Rob says, we're up early on a Saturday. Got to go to work. I've been up since 5 here. What happened to Marion from Lauderdale Kane? Marion's is going to play. I should have mentioned him too. I should have mentioned him when I'm talking about all these guys. But, I mean, Marion's going to play his same role, I think. He's been playing a lot of snaps, so you can kind of count on him to do what he's going to do as well. You'd like to see that explosive element from Marion. It's in him. I'm sure he's ready to hit a big one, catch and run, or deep ball. Marion wants one of those. Yeah, Brandon asking if JoJo starts if Daniels can't go. I would think Josh Moore, just because he's caught the ball more this year and he's just bigger. He's more similar to CJ Daniels in terms of the way he plays, the contested catches. JoJo can make contested catches too, but I think Josh Moore, that's more his style than JoJo. JoJo can separate with the best of them. Very athletic, very smooth route runner. Josh Moore, you see how they throw fades to him. A lot of stuff you do with CJ Daniels, especially in the red zone, is similar to what you see with Josh Moore. It's noon there in Hamburg. There you go. Shout out to Hamburg. I've been listening to a lot of classical music from that part of the world, trying to get myself cultured here when I'm working out. Eddie Delva says, good morning, D. Who is this very blue chip defensive tackle we're going to flip? Look, I don't know if we're going to flip him or not, but we're working on a bunch, and I predict we'll get one of them. That's it. Early morning show for the early day game. That's right. JT saying, you think Chase Smith should come in for our nickel packages on 3rd and long for Toure? He's too much of a liability in the passing game. Look, I think in those 3rd and longs, if you're Chase Smith or Toure, you want those guys going forward trying to sack the quarterback or spy on the quarterback. In terms of 3rd and long linebackers, Wes, you could also use Jacoby Thomas as a linebacker, put in Bryce Fitzgerald at safety, which you do anyways on 3rd and long. So there's different things you can do. I'm surprised we haven't seen more Bobby Pruitt, to be honest with you, this year. I think in the future he could have that role where he comes in to do what you're talking about, but that hasn't happened yet. He's transitioning to safety, but he's going to have a specialist role. I am surprised he hasn't played more, though. Waleed saying, get a mic on any Lashley JoJo conversation post-game. Hopefully it's just Lashley congratulating him on a big game. Clint Beasley says Clemson down bad. We're flipping Dabo's whole roster. Keyshawn Stansel, big time defensive tackle. The more I watch him, the more excited I get. Man, he's a real deal, like NFL type player. Flipping to the Canes, guy we recruited for a long, long time from Raleigh, North Carolina. Blake Stewart's the one to keep an eye on. The safety from Atlanta. Vanderbilt's in that mix. Clemson had him, but he's out the door. Miami would love to add Blake Stewart. They've been recruiting extremely hard. He visited twice in the spring. I think he visited again after that. We've been on Blake Stewart for a while now. Just love everything he brings to the table, the versatility, multi-sport athlete. I think he plays basketball, baseball, lacrosse, track, football. He plays everything on top of on the football field, special teams, offense, scoring touchdowns in those facets, and on the defensive side of the ball. So versatile player, great character from what I understand, great athlete, physical, good size. I've seen him in person for the Raw Miami 7-on-7 team. I love Blake Stewart. That's one of my favorite players in the class. Would love for Miami to add that one. I think they got a very good shot. I would predict it, but they got to get it done. But I think that will get done. Cloudfeed saying, I think the game should sell out here in Dallas. SMU Twitter is begging students and fans to show up, saying they asked for these early games. Well, it's not good if they're begging. That's not a good sign. But I'm sure there'll be people there. It's not going to be a COVID stadium. There's going to be people there. They'll be getting loud. If they have success early in the game or wherever, the crowd will get loud. You got to go and take it on the road. It'll be a road game. I don't think we expect it to be any favorable atmosphere. I don't think it's going to be a daunting atmosphere, but you got to get it done. Small stadium. All right, everybody. Appreciate you guys joining us here for Breakfast with CanesInSight. I got to run. Let's cheer on. I'll be cheering on E-Money, and then we'll cheer on the Canes as you get this one done, man. This is a big, big game. Huge game for Mario Cristobal and his program going on the road against Rhett Lashley, who just signed a big extension and, is dying to beat the Canes. So let's see how it goes, man. I feel ultimately, I guess we should, prediction-wise, before we get out of here, I think Carson Beck's going to have a good game. I think it's going to be a Carson Beck-oriented game. Hopefully CJ Daniels is there, but if it's not, I still think Carson Beck, they're going to dare him to beat them, and I think he's going to be able to. You saw him go on the road against FSU and do that. This is a game that's going to be favorable conditions. The weather's going to be nice. SMU is a good defense. I like their defensive line. Number 9, number 1, number 4, all those guys can get after it. And then they take the ball away on defense. So they present a lot of problems. They've been stopping the run very well, particularly against Clemson. Clemson did nothing in the running game. They're going to try to take away Miami's running game. It's going to be on Carson Beck. I think he's going to get it done. Have a real good game. And then defensively, Kevin Jennings got with a lot of arm talent. He can make a lot of different throws, but being banged up, not being the most mobile guy to begin with, and not being the biggest guy to begin with, I think we can overwhelm him, beating him up a little bit, and control the running game, which has struggled for SMU. So if we limit the big plays on offense, they're schemed up. And then defense, and then when we're on offense, Carson Beck can get going, which I think he will. I like the Canes here. I think they win. They cover the spread. They play well, and when we're feeling good. But I'll be just as nervous as you guys. This is November 1st, man. This has not been our month, so it's time to rewrite some narratives this Canes season. Appreciate everybody's support. Like and subscribe to the show. Go Canes.